Yo, what's going on, everyone? Divine day. I trust everybody is doing great today. I got cut off before, but now here I am. I'm going to get straight into this video. If you're just getting in, go ahead and drop your city and state. Make sure to hit the follow button, right? And subscribe so you can get more information. So I'm going to dive into it. Today, I really want to speak about mental health and financial parasites, right? So mental health is so important, and I feel like we don't talk about or touch on mental health as much as we should, right? Mental health is very important because the more healthy you are mentally, the better experiences that you're going to have in life, the better interactions that you're going to have in life. When you are healthy mentally, you start to create the life that you want to live in. But if you're not healthy mentally, you will create a world of chaos. You will create a life that you don't want, right? So check this out. Let's speak about parasites for just a second, right? Let's speak about parasites. What's going on if you just getting in, right? We're talking about mental health, because this is like mental health. Isn't this like mental health awareness month or something like that? Like, it's self-care month, right? This is mental awareness month, and we got to be aware of our mentality. We got to be aware of our mind, you guys, right? So let's look at the definition of a parasite, because what we don't realize is that there's different type of parasites. We often just think about like parasites from foods. You know, you eat something wrong, you get a parasite in your stomach. Well, a parasite can be anything. Let's read the definition of a parasite, right? It says a parasite is an organism that lives on or is a host organism and gets its food from or the expanse of the host. So basically, a parasite is a whole nother living entity, living, breathing, fucking using the bathroom entity, right? So just like you do, that is what a parasite does, right? But a parasite can live inside of you, not only in your gut, but in your mind. So what is a financial mental parasite? A financial mental parasite is a parasite that keeps you in the barriers of lack and struggle, right? That's why to live in the mind of lack, to live in the mind of struggle is a parasite, because we live in an abundant world. But if mentally you're not healthy in your mind, you won't see the abundance that's all around you. You won't see the gratitude. See, a lot of times when we have the mental parasite in the mind, it's hard for us to be grateful. It's hard for us to be in a state of gratitude because we're so focused on the lack, or we're so focused on the not having, or we're so focused on the situation that it dilutes the mind, right? And it puts the mind into a fight or flight type of situation versus a situation where you're able to see the goodness all around, right? So let's talk about this financial parasite some more, right? So generational poverty is a parasite. It's a cycle of habits. It's a cycle of behaviors, right? So generational poverty is a parasite that's engraved into the bloodline and generations of our families. And so that's why it's so important for you to purge the financial parasite out of your bloodline so that you can start to operate in an abundant state. See, shout out to Miss Tracy. I don't know if Miss Tracy's on this call, but one of my community members, Miss Tracy, she did a call yesterday about fleas. shaking the fleas off of you, right? And so fleas, for me, is the same thing as a parasite. What do fleas do? Fleas live on you as a living host. So it's the same thing as a parasite. So, I used to think before that rich people were like snobby. I was like, oh man, these rich people, they're snobby. They think that they're better. And what I realized is when I started to get around people who had wealth, get around people who didn't have money problems, get around people who wasn't struggling, what I realized is that those type of people thought a certain type of way, their energy was a certain type of way, and they lived a certain type of way. And what I realized is that it wasn't that quote unquote rich, wealthy people didn't want to associate with people who had money problems, but it's an energy thing. It's a parasite, right? Because if you think about it, parasites can get on you, right? Fleas can get on you, right? Of course, you can transmute and you can shake things off of you. But what I realized is that they just didn't want to be in the contagious of the parasite, of the thinking, right? Of the way of thinking, right? Because, I found myself around, let's just say, or maybe you have found yourself around people that have been really negative, right? Maybe they're just like talking bad about people, or maybe they're talking about like, I don't know, Donald Trump. I mean, whatever, right? They could just be talking about whatever, something that's not feeding your spirit. And all of a sudden, if you don't have control over your mind, you can find yourself also getting into the same mix, talking about the same things, right? It's because those parasites, those ways of thinking is so contagious when you don't work on your mental health. So I had to reprogram the way I look at quote unquote rich, successful people. And I had to realize, wow, they just don't want to be in the type of energy. It's an energy, you guys. Like abundance is an energy. And when you know how abundant you are, there's no room for mental parasites. See, what happens is when the mental parasites start to take over your mind, you don't start to even think right. You're not even thinking for yourself anymore. You're letting the organism that has took over. You can look it up. Parasites are a real thing, you guys. Like, this ain't no spooky ooky, type of stuff. Like, there's mental parasites of the mind, right? And so when you don't have control over your mind, and when you have kind of lost yourself, see, depression and stressed about money comes from not knowing thyself, not knowing who you are. When you don't know who you truly are, not that person you post on Facebook, not that person you hide behind on Facebook, not those pictures that you take. No, when you really know thyself, when you really know yourself, like for real, you don't stress over certain things because you know who you are and you know what kind of things you can bring into your life, right? So you can always tell that you're growing in life when you're starting to get attacked, right? If you've been going through things in your life right now where you just kind of feel like people are just kind of like attacking you, it's because you're on the verge of a breakthrough. See, what happens is we all have a certain type of light. We all shine a certain type of way. Depending on your frequency and depending on your energy and depending on your mindset, your frequency is going to look like a different color. And you cannot physically see it, but spiritually the parasites can see it. So you guys may be experiencing right now where you're developing and you're growing. And then you may have people around you like your friends and your family that may not be growing in that light. And if they're not growing and they haven't worked with their parasites, they're going to low-key get kind of envious, kind of attacky on you, right? Because the parasites are like the Matrix. Remember the Matrix? Remember the agents? You can call them agents, you can call them parasites. When you don't have control over your mind and your body, you allow any type of parasite organism operate in your body. And so what happens is you may have, for example, I had a friend Very, very close friend. I knew this friend for a while. I'm talking about we grew up maybe when I was about 10 years old, right? We grew up with each other. But my life started to go another way and their life started to go another way. And what started to happen is when your vibration is so high and you're doing good things in life, it irritates other people's demons. It irritates other people's parasites, right? It irritates agents in the matrix. And so, of course, these are, you guys got to realize there's energies out there that works against us, right? And that don't want to see you prosper, right? Some people may call it the devil. Some people might call it bad energy, whatever word you want to call it. Just know that there is other type of energy out there, right? And so what happens is you'll start to get little mini attacks, right? Little mini attacks, different things, different situations will try to kind of like stop you or, unfocus you or, take you out the zone. But what I want you guys to know is just know that just means that you're growing, you're expanding, you're outgrowing your situation, you're outgrowing your circle, you're outgrowing the people around you because maybe they're not thinking like that yet. Maybe they're still working through themselves. So that's why it's so very important as you're growing and developing that you surround yourself around people doing the same thing. Now, it's not to say that you can't hang out with people that's not, but personally, if it's not helping you grow, why would you even want to be around it, right? If it's not making you feel good, if it's not making you grow, right? If, it doesn't make any sense. So that's why you want to surround yourself around people who are already doing the work on their mind. You want to surround yourself because it's a different type of experience. When I surround myself around people who, let's just say, are happy. They're happy where they are in life. They're doing their ideal job. They're not struggling. They don't have any stress in life. The experience is different. The conversations is different. The energy is different because they're not in the energy of struggle. They're not that's a vibration. It's an energy. It has got nothing to do with who's better or not better. It's just an energy. And when you're operating in struggle and you're operating in lack and you're operating in fear, that is a certain type of energy. And it's not going to mix well with the high vibrational energy that lives a carefree life. And see, what starts to happen is, this is when people say, man, I'm getting haters or something like that, right? It's not necessarily that the people are hating you. It's just that they don't love themselves enough to see that they have their own inner light. And so what starts to happen is, like I said, you start to irritate people's parasites, right? So mental health, right? You have to train your mind. You really have to train your mind. If you don't train your mind, you're going to allow something else to enter your mind and take over you. If you don't know thyself and know that you're already abundant, you're going to always be stressed out about money. You're going to always have money problems. You're going to always just be in a status of mute with your money because it's your thinking, because it's your environment. It's because it's the mental parasites that's inside of your mind, right? And it's been passed down generational. And so one thing that I realized, and I'm going to get ready to end this call, is when I started this whole entrepreneur journey, some of you guys already know, I started off, working with crystals. I started off doing energy healing, and then I went to this financial path, right? But what I realized is that I'm doing the same work. I'm just helping people get through their financial blockages, their financial demons, their financial parasites. Right? And so in the essence, it's kind of like performing exorcisms on people, right? Slaying these parasites of the mind and breaking generational curses so that new energy can flow in, right? So I just wanted to share that today. I didn't want to be strong, but I definitely wanted to just talk about mental health. I definitely just wanted to talk about financial mental parasites, because you can see them everywhere, You can see them all over. You can hear them in people's conversation. You can hear them in people's actions and what they do, right? And it has nothing to do like these people or these people. It's just facts. It is what it is. It's a vibration. It's an energy, right? It's definitely an energy. And we all have the power to operate on the high frequency. We just have to remember who we are. We just have to remember our power. We just have to remember that money is not outside of us. It is us. We are money. So the moment you do that and the moment you start stressing about it is the moment the parasites are going to die. But do you know what keeps feeding the parasites? What keeps feeding the parasites is your doubt. What keeps feeding the parasites is your negative thinking about money. What keeps feeding the parasites is your jealousy of other people. What keeps feeding the mental parasites is not taking self-responsibility of your situation and blaming others, right? What is causing them to continue to live is that you are giving them all the energy. You're feeding them with your negativity. Your negative ways of thinking is feeding the parasite, which is keeping the parasite in the mind living even longer, you guys, right? So if you're out there experiencing, outgrowing your circle, getting more into business and wanting to be more entrepreneurial or just more into things that your circle is not doing, you will experience kind of like a lash, right? Because, people are your friends or family is going to probably be thinking, well, who does she think she is? Who does he think he is? Well, you think you're yourself and you're just out there doing what you want to do, but people will look down on that and they will shun that because you're not following the matrix programs. You are getting out the matrix and the agents will come after you, right? So protect your mind, right? Do the mind work, right? Surround yourself around people who have already worked on their mind, right? Not to say that you can't be with nobody who hasn't, but the more you can surround yourself around people who are doing the work, literally doing the work, the more you can grow and expand as a person. Now remember, like, share this, subscribe, and comment below. I want to know your thoughts. Peace.